sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
Okay, so we're diving into some serious celebrity sparkle today. A whole stack of articles are buzzing about Zendaya's new ring. And the big question, could it be an engagement ring from Tom Holland?
Oh, definitely adds fuel to the fire, doesn't it?
You know, her Spider-Man co-star and real-life boyfriend.
Right, yeah. And what's so fascinating is how one piece of jewelry can cause such a frenzy. It really gives you a glimpse into celebrity culture and how trends spread. Not to mention the economics of luxury goods. We're talking about a potential 5-carat diamond here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not just about the gossip of are they or aren't they. It's a 5.02-carat diamond set in 18-carat white and yellow gold. From a UK jeweler called Jessica McCormack, the articles call it an east-west cushion diamond button back ring, which sounds pretty impressive, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that east-west setting, that's really what sets it apart, you know? Instead of the diamond being set vertically like you usually see, it sits horizontally across the finger. It's subtle, but it makes a huge difference in the overall look.
So it's less in-your-face sparkle and more about a unique kind of elegance?
Exactly. Yeah, and, you know, this style actually has some history behind it. It goes back to the Edwardian and Art Deco period, so think like the 1920s and 30s.
Oh, wow. So it has that vintage glamour going for it?
Oh, for sure. Back then, they used the east-west setting a lot to show off elongated diamonds, like emerald cuts or baguette cuts. It emphasized their shape and created this really sleek geometric aesthetic.
And now it's back in style.
It is.
Yeah.
Like any trend, it comes down to a bunch of factors. You know, people are drawn to the romance and sophistication of those eras, like everything old is new again.
Right.
But it's also about individuality. In a world where everyone wants to stand out, this setting offers a unique alternative to the classic solitaire.
Like it's saying, I appreciate tradition, but I'm also my own person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Zendaya being a fashion icon could really push this trend even further. I mean, you see more celebrities rocking the East-West setting, and you can bet it'll trickle down to mainstream jewelry.
Yeah, it's amazing how much influence celebrities have on this kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. It makes you wonder if jewelers are already planning for it. You know, get the Zendaya look.
Right, exactly. And it won't just be rings. It could be necklaces, earrings, bracelets.
Yeah, you're right. It's a versatile design, for sure. But let's not forget, we're still talking about diamonds here, which means a significant investment, especially when you get to those multi-carat sizes.
Right, we were talking about Zendaya's ring potentially being worth $500,000. I mean, that's more than some people's houses.
It's true. And those prices aren't just about the size of the diamond. There's craftsmanship, the setting the brand name, and sometimes even historical significance.
It's a whole world of value that most people don't even realize. Like, what actually makes one diamond worth more than another?
Well, there are a few key factors. We've got what they call the 4 C's: carat, clarity, color, and cut.
Okay, I know carat is the way of the diamond, but what about the rest?
So clarity is all about how clear the diamond is, you know, how many imperfections it has. The fewer the imperfections, the more brilliant and valuable the diamond is.
Okay, that makes sense. What about color?
Color is graded on a scale from D to Z, with D being completely colorless and Z having a noticeable yellow or brown tint. The more colorless a diamond is, the rarer and more expensive it is.
So it's kind of the opposite of those colorful gemstones we were talking about before. With diamonds, the clearer the better.
Exactly. Then we have cut, which is arguably the most important factor.
Really? How come?
Because the cut determines how well the diamond reflects light. A well-cut diamond will really sparkle and shine, you know, with incredible brilliance.
So it's not just about the size, it's about how the diamond interacts with the light.
Exactly. You could have a smaller diamond with a fantastic cut that's actually more brilliant and valuable than a larger diamond with a poor cut.
Wow, I never knew there was so much to it. It's like a diamond has its own personality based on its cut.
I like that. That's a great way to put it. And when you're talking about a ring like Zendaya's with a potentially huge diamond, all those factors together, well, it creates that astronomical price tag.
Yeah, it really puts things in perspective. So even though most of us aren't shopping in that price range, it's still fascinating to understand what goes into the value of these pieces.
Oh, absolutely. And even if we're not spending millions on diamonds, we can still learn from these celebrity choices.
Like what?
Well, think about the historical context we were discussing. The comeback of the East-West setting shows that jewelry trends are cyclical. What's old can become new again.
So it's worth keeping an eye on those vintage styles, even if they're not popular right now.
Exactly. You never know what might come back around. And who knows, maybe you'll even spot the next big trend before it hits the mainstream.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the East-West setting the economics of diamonds and how celebrities can influence trends. But what about the actual history of engagement rings? Where did this tradition even come from?
That's a great question. And you know what you might be surprised to learn? That the diamond engagement ring as we know it is a relatively recent invention.
Really? I always thought it was a tradition that went back centuries.
It does have ancient roots, but the modern diamond engagement ring, we can actually trace that back to a very clever marketing campaign. By De Beers, the diamond giant back in the late 19th century.
De Beers, the diamond company.
The one and only. They had a problem. Diamonds weren't as rare as people thought and demand was low. So they needed to create a desire for diamonds, and they did it by connecting them with love and marriage.
So they basically convinced the world that a diamond ring was the ultimate symbol of love and commitment.
Exactly. And their marketing. Incredibly effective. They created those slogans like, "A diamond is forever," and really pushed the idea that a man's love could be measured by the size of the diamond he gave.
Wow, talk about a legacy. So when someone proposes with a diamond ring today, we can partially thank De Beers for that tradition.
You got it. It's a fascinating example of how marketing can shape our culture and traditions. And it also shows that the value of these pieces is often tied to the stories and emotions we attach to them.
That makes sense. A diamond is beautiful on its own, but it's the meaning behind it that really makes it special.
Exactly. And then you add in the whole glamour of Hollywood, those stories become even more captivating.
Right. It's like a real-life fairy tale, but with diamonds and designer gowns instead of glass slippers.
Exactly. Even though we know those Hollywood romances don't always last, we're still drawn to that sparkle and the dream of a happily ever after.
I guess everyone, that's really cool. It's about finding a symbol of their commitment that feels authentic to them regardless of tradition or expectations.
Exactly. It's about breaking free from those norms and creating their own rituals. And at the end of the day, isn't that what love is all about?
Well said. It's not about the size of the diamond or the price tag. It's about the love and commitment that the ring represents.
Absolutely. So while those celebrity engagement rings can really spark our imaginations and inspire trends, it's important to remember that love comes in all shapes and sizes, just like jewelry.
Speaking of shapes and sizes, we've been talking a lot about diamonds, but what about those other precious gemstones out there? Rubies, sapphires, emeralds, they're all stunning.
Right, and they each have their own unique beauty, meaning, and history.
Yeah, and they can be just as pricey as diamonds, sometimes even more so.
Right, like that $5 million ruby ring that Katy Perry got.
Exactly. And you know what? For some people, colored gemstones are actually even more appealing than diamonds because they're so unique and personal, you know? Right, they really make a statement. Like imagine a sapphire engagement ring so chic and unexpected.
Oh, totally. And each gemstone has its own history and symbolism. Like sapphires are often associated with wisdom and loyalty, while rubies symbolize passion and love.
It's like they have their own secret language. I love that there's this deeper meaning behind each stone.
There is. And that's part of what makes them so special. They're not just pretty baubles. They carry a whole story and significance beyond just their sparkle.
Speaking of stories, have you ever heard of the Hope Diamond? You know that legendary blue diamond with the supposed curse?
Oh, of course. It's over 45 carats and it has a history that goes back centuries. From French royalty to American heiresses, a stunning stone for sure. But that supposed curse just adds another layer of intrigue.
I've always been fascinated by cursed jewels. It's like they hold this piece of history that's both beautiful and a little bit dangerous.
It's true. And the Hope Diamond is a perfect example. It's traveled the world, been owned by kings and queens, and now it's on display at the Smithsonian, captivating visitors with its beauty and its legend.
It's amazing to think that one stone has seen so much history. It makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden within those facets.
It really does. And it reminds us that jewelry can be so much more than just adornment. It can be a symbol of power, wealth, even superstition.
Speaking of power and wealth, we can't forget about the crown jewels. Those collections are in a league of their own.
Oh, absolutely. The British crown jewels are probably the most famous, with their crowns and scepters and orbs and all those incredible diamonds and gemstones. They represent centuries of monarchy and tradition, and their value, priceless.
It's amazing to think about all that history and craftsmanship that went into creating those pieces. It's like they're a living link to the past.
They are. And you know what? They're still used today for those big ceremonial occasions, connecting the present to this long and really fascinating past.
It's incredible how some pieces of jewelry can transcend time and continue to have meaning and value for generations.
Exactly. They become part of our collective heritage.
Yeah.
A tangible link to history.
We've been talking about these famous and incredibly valuable pieces, but it makes me think about the everyday jewelry that people wear. The pieces that have personal meaning, even if they're not worth a fortune.
That's a great point. Sometimes the most valuable pieces are the ones that hold sentimental value, the ones that tell a personal story.
Or like a necklace that was a gift from a grandparent, or a ring that you bought on a special trip. They might not be worth a lot of money, but they're priceless to the people who own them.
Exactly. They become heirlooms passed down through generations, carrying all those memories and emotions with them.
It's like each piece has its own unique energy imbued with the love and experiences of those who wore it before.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it reminds us that jewelry is more than just about sparkle and status. It's about connection, memory, and meaning.
Well said. It's those personal stories that make jewelry truly special. Whether it's a simple ring or a dazzling necklace, it's the meaning we attach to it that gives it real value.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, I think this has been a really dazzling deep dive. We've talked about so much Zendaya's possible engagement ring, the history of diamonds, the allure of colored gemstones, the stories behind some of the world's most famous jewels, and even the personal significance of those everyday pieces. It's amazing how much there is to discover in this sparkling world.
It really is a fascinating journey, isn't it? It's like a blend of art and history and culture and economics, and even a touch of science. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a bit of glamour and sparkle?
Absolutely. So what does this all mean for you? Well, maybe you'll start looking at your own jewelry with a fresh perspective. Maybe you'll appreciate the craftsmanship, the history, or the personal stories that are hidden within those pieces.
Or maybe you'll be inspired to learn even more about the world of gems and jewelry. There's always something new to discover, from the science of diamond cuts to the fascinating stories behind all those different gemstones.
Exactly. So the next time you put on a piece of jewelry, remember that it's more than just an accessory. It's a reflection of your personality, your values, and your unique journey through life.
And who knows, maybe someday one of your pieces will become a treasured heirloom, passed down through generations, carrying your own special story with it. They can be.
Yeah, and for some people, those colored gemstones actually have even more appeal than diamonds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they're so unique and personal.
Yeah.
It's like making a statement.
Right. Like a sapphire engagement ring instead.
Yeah.
That's so chic and unexpected.
Exactly. And each gemstone has its own history and symbolism, Like sapphires, they're often associated with wisdom and loyalty, while rubies, they symbolize passion and love.
It's like their own secret language. I love that. This deeper meaning behind each stone.
Yeah, there is. And that's what makes them so special. They're not just, pretty baubles. They carry a whole story and a significance that goes way beyond just the sparkle.
It's true. Speaking of stories, have you ever heard of the Hope Diamond? That legendary blue diamond with the supposed curse? Oh, of course. Yeah, the Hope Diamond. More than 45 carats in a history that spans centuries. French royalty, American heiresses. Such a stunning stone. Yeah. But that supposed curse just adds another layer of intrigue, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I've always been fascinated by cursed jewels. It's like they hold this piece of history, both beautiful and a little bit dangerous.
It's true. And the Hope Diamond, it's a perfect example. I mean, it's traveled the world, been owned by kings and queens, and now it's on display at the Smithsonian, just captivating visitors with its beauty and its legend.
Wow. It's incredible to think about, that one stone has seen so much history. It really makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden in those facets.
Isn't it? And it reminds us that jewelry isn't just about adornment. It can be a symbol of power, wealth, and even superstition.
Speaking of power and wealth, what about the crown jewels? I mean, those collections are in a league of their own.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the British crown jewels are probably the most famous. Their crowns, scepters, orbs, and all those dazzling diamonds and gemstones. Centuries of monarchy and tradition. And the value, well, it's priceless.
It's amazing to think about all that history and craftsmanship that went into creating those pieces, like a living link to the past.
They are. And they're still used today for those big ceremonial occasions.
Yeah.
Connecting the present to this long and fascinating past.
It's incredible how some pieces of jewelry can just transcend time and continue to hold meaning and value for generations.
They really do. They become a part of our shared heritage, a tangible link to history.
We've been talking about these famous and incredibly valuable pieces, but it makes me think about the everyday jewelry that people wear, the pieces that have, personal meaning, even if they're not worth a fortune.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah. Sometimes the most valuable pieces are the ones that hold sentimental value, the ones that tell a personal story.
Right, like a necklace from a grandparent
Right.
or a ring bought on a special trip. They might not be worth a lot of money, but they're priceless to the people who own them.
They are. They become heirlooms, passed down through generations, carrying all those memories and emotions with them.
It's like each piece has its own unique energy, imbued with the love and experiences of those who wore it before.
I love that. And, it reminds us that jewelry isn't just about sparkle and status. It's about connection, memory, meaning.
So well said. It's those personal stories that make jewelry truly special. Whether it's a simple ring or, a dazzling necklace, it's the meaning we attach to it. That gives it its real value.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. We've covered so much: Zendaya's possible engagement ring, the history of diamonds, allure of colored gemstones, the stories behind some of the world's most famous jewels, and even the personal significance of our own everyday pieces. It's amazing how much there is to discover in this sparkling world.
It is such a fascinating journey. It's a blend of art and history and culture and economics and even a little bit of science. And who doesn't love a little glamour and sparkle?
I know I do. So what does all this mean for you? Well, maybe you'll start looking at your own jewelry with a fresh perspective. Appreciate the craftsmanship, the history, or even the personal stories hidden within those pieces.
Or maybe you'll be inspired to learn more about the world of gems and jewelry. I mean, there's always something new to discover, from the science of diamond cuts to the fascinating stories behind all those different gemstones.
You're right. So the next time you put on a piece of jewelry, remember, it's more than just an accessory. It's a reflection of your personality, your values, your own unique journey through life.
And who knows, maybe one day one of your pieces will become a treasured heirloom, passed down through generations, carrying your own special story with it.